6 things you were never taught about the Civil War. Before we start, I would want you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Insane World. 6. Lee's esteemed estate. During the Civil War, Robert E. Lee's Virginia estate, called Arlington, was taken by the Union. Lee and his wife Mary had left their 100-acre estate as war approached. Arlington overlooked Washington, D.C., which was prime ground for the Union. So in 1863, the U.S. government officially seized the property. They cited Lee's unpaid taxes amounting to $92.07 and took control. Then the North summarily transformed it into a cemetery. President Lincoln approved the establishment of a cemetery on the site, wanting a place to honor the Union dead. A burial vault was constructed on the estate's former rose garden. The intention was for Lee to confront the consequences of his actions in the war. Lincoln wanted him to witness the graves and the devastation caused by the awful battles. 5. Tubman's Raid. Harriet Tubman infamously escaped slavery and then led others to freedom on the Underground Railroad. But during the Civil War, she embarked on another significant mission. Arriving at the Union camp in Port Royal, South Carolina, in 1862, Tubman dedicated herself to supporting the Northern cause. Initially, she taught freedwomen valuable skills for employment with the Union Army. Then she quickly transitioned into gathering vital information from freed blacks. She even started conducting reconnaissance trips along the river. But that was nothing compared to the war she directly waged on the South. On June 1, 1863, Tubman joined forces with Union Colonel James Montgomery. Together, they led 300 black Union soldiers deep into enemy territory at Combahee Ferry. 4. Lincoln's plans for freed slaves. Both before and during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln advocated for sending freed black people out of the country. This policy was known at the time as colonization, and it even had the backing of influential figures like Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Andrew Jackson, Henry Clay, and Harriet Beecher Stowe. In fact, the characters in Stowe's book Uncle Tom's Cabin eventually relocated from the United States to Africa. As it turns out, that was a common idea during much of the 19th century. In August 1862, Lincoln invited 5 black ministers and anti-slavery speakers to the White House. During the meeting, he expressed his belief that slavery and the war had shown that it would be beneficial for both sides to separate. He proposed sending freed blacks to Central America. He even suggested a constitutional amendment to authorize Congress to finance colonization. However, prominent abolitionists like Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison strongly opposed this idea. 3. No pay, no fight. During the Civil War, black Union soldiers took a stand against unequal wages. While white soldiers earned at least $13 per month, black soldiers were paid only $10. To make matters worse, black soldiers were also charged a $3 monthly fee for clothing costs, thus reducing their pay to $7. This meant that the highest paid black soldier earned just half of what the lowest paid white soldier received. Obviously, for men risking their lives for the Union cause, that didn't sit well. In response, black regiments refused to accept these poor wages. They threatened to quit fighting altogether if they weren't paid appropriately. Their bravery on the battlefield, combined with pressure from abolitionist congressmen, led Congress to address the issue. In the fall of 1864, black soldiers finally received pay commensurate with their white counterparts. 2. Lee's brutal ways. Everybody throughout history believes that General Ulysses S. Grant caused the most bloodshed of the Civil War, but that's actually not the case. His Union men were undoubtedly brutal on foes, and the war was brutal on them too, with Grant pushing hard and losing troops left and right even as he won battles. Take, for example, the Overland Campaign in 1864. Grant's troops suffered terrible losses during that run, with twice as many casualties as Robert E. Lee's army. Mary Lincoln infamously referred to Grant as a butcher because of this, but the future president didn't cause nearly as much bloodshed as Lee. When looking at casualties in proportion to the size of the armies, Lee's army endured far worse fates than the Union throughout the war. Lee had a fondness for launching vicious attacks at all times. 1. Soldiers from all over. During the Civil War, the Union Army had a remarkably diverse makeup. Immigrants comprised about 1/3 of the soldiers, and freed slaves and other African Americans made up nearly 1 in 10. In sum, the Union Army effectively created an early multicultural and even multinational force. Irish soldiers were the most well-known immigrant fighters, comprising nearly 8% of the army. But there were also significant numbers of Germans, nearly 10% of total fighters, who formed regiments like the Steuben Volunteers. Other immigrant soldiers came from France, Italy, Poland, England, Scotland, Wales, and many more. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them.